How you doing, people? Welcome back to another ESO build video. Today is a brand new build for the channel called Feed. This is a Nightblade Vampire Healer build designed to be an absolute resource battery. This will give stamina and Magicka to your group, heals to your group, and above all, ultimate. Now, I know people's brains are going already deciding what sets they think I've chosen, and they're going straight to the written guide. Don't do that. Watch the video. Everything you need to know is going to be here, including skills, passive, stats, how to actually use the build, how it functions and why, and all the things in between that don't actually work with it and why I made the choices I have. So if you want to see more of that, stay tuned. It's all coming up. So first of all, we need to go into the stats. Now, there are some buffs that do need to be applied, otherwise we don't take full advantage of our stuff and things. I'm going to briefly go over weapon and spell damage first of all, because we've got a glyph that fires for that. So if we sit here now, we're on almost 4k, 3.974. That will fluctuate during combat depending on whether your glyph is active or not, and you can get benefits from your group with buffs and bonuses, etc. to weapon and spell damage to enhance that even more. Now, when it comes to the flat stats, health, stamina, all that good stuff, obviously we need to make sure that we've got those running. We are on 35k maximum Magicka, 34k maximum health, and 14k stamina, with 27.5k spell resistance and 26.7k physical resistance. Bear in mind, if you have extra resistance bonuses from your group, perhaps a tank using a block set that gives you resistances, or maybe Lord Warden and stuff like that, it's quite easy to eventually hit almost cap. So bear in mind, we are very, very tanky already, but there is more room for improvement depending on how you set your groups up. The recovery will fluctuate over time as well, because we need to make sure we've got everything running. We have some buffs and bonuses that apply to our setup that give us extra recovery. 1.7k mag recovery then for a moment, and then it goes up over time, and then back down, and then jumps backwards and forwards. It will change, but we have really good recovery overall for both stamina and Magicka. Health recovery is lower because we are a stage 1 vampire, so that's not massively important, but it's not terrible all the same anyway. Crit chance is 40.7%. Of course, if you get minor prophecy even, or minor savagery, which we will have, that will alter your spell or weapon crit. If we scale off of our weapon crit chance, of course, we will then be taking advantage of the minor savagery that the Nightblade brings. If we have the sorcerer in the group, we take minor prophecy. Either way, that will push us to around 46.7. Now, the pen is not that high at the moment, but you can make it a bit higher. We do have to consider, obviously, we've got light armor passives to contribute to that. And of course, if we're behind a target, our pen will be slightly higher again. If you are flanking the target, it's higher, which does benefit our heavy attack, because then we can do a harder hit to receive a better heal. More about that in the resto passives later. Now, I've got 64 points, obviously, into max Magicka rather than everywhere else. We have got a high health pool, but that's because we've got lots of tanky stuff on, and we've got a couple of health glyphs. You can change them out if you want to, but in testing, the results were minimal in terms of healing potential for doing so. It was really nice to have the tankiness, and the maximum Magicka that we've got sitting at 35k was a really good kind of sweet spot to make our heals really, really strong. Now, we do have the Thief Munderstone to alter our crit chance, obviously, and we are taking advantage of flat food. Maximum health, maximum Magicka. I know people like to use spammy food with lots of recovery. Those people are doing it wrong. It's nice to have recovery. It is. It really is. But if you aren't taking advantage of your heavy attack as a resto staff user, you're never getting major mending. So since our stats are flat, with a healthy amount of recovery popping backwards and forwards, we do have the ability to use skills quite actively, but we also are forced to heavy attack to maintain resources, so we are forcing ourselves to get the extra 16% healing done. Lots of people forget that passive, they barely use it. Check your logs, you'll see how much people are maintaining it. Not very much. So, we're going to go into the skills in detail. Obviously, we have a class guide for the Nightblade on the channel, and there are some other side videos as well to kind of help you keep up to date with Nightblade changes along the way. Those are in the update playlist on the channel. So, Refreshing Path, first of all, is in the Shadow skill line. Third ability you unlock starts off as Path of Darkness, morph to Refreshing Path. This is your heal. Minor Endurance and Intellect, and Major Expedition for receiving a heal from this skill for 4 seconds. If you stay inside of it, you maintain it the whole time, and 4 seconds after. If you don't stay inside of it, it will run out after 4 seconds, but you can come back in and claim it again. Basically, it looks like this. Line of heals there, you can run through it or come out of it. As you can see on the bottom right hand side there, the Major Expedition, the running one, is about to run out. If I run into it, I get it back again. So it gives you a really good bonus there for recovery and speed and heals. Maintain that on the ground at all times. It's crucial to one of your major passives, and it's crucial for your group survival. Sap Essence is a bit of a swap out. Technically speaking, you want to make sure you've got something from the Siphon and skill line regardless, but we are taking advantage of Sap Essence for 2 reasons. Major sorcery and brutality, if we do damage with it, and the heal that it gives to the group. So close quarter heals, all you have to do is pop this, wrong button, pop this, and you will damage all surrounding enemies, and the more enemies there are, the bigger the heal for the group that are close. Again, we need the major brutality and sorcery, and we want to take advantage of that as a close quarter heal, and it procs one of our sets. It's very important that you understand that. We'll come into that later when we talk about the gear. But major brutality from this is, or major sorcery as well, is the main point. If you use spell pots, then of course you can change this to another skill. You can change it to Healthy Offering, but you are going to lack the ability to proc a certain set, but we'll go over that again later when the gear comes in. So you will need something else to fire that. But this is your burst heal if you really, really need it from long range. This is your close quarter, everyone gets a heal at the same time. This is for if you don't use spell pots. We're technically using tripods on the build, so I would recommend this all day long. But again, if you are out in the field and you're stuck at long range, you can take advantage of any of these two for a heal over time and some damage, or an actual burst heal. Bear in mind, this one does give you minor mending, so this would be the better choice. But it also only applies to you or an ally. So you have to make sure this is an emergency heal, not a constant everyone gets one. It's a tricky trade-off, but you need a major buff being applied on your front bar. This doesn't actually count towards one of our sets because it's broken at the moment. Skill works fine, but the set proc needs this. Again, if you wanted to swap out for another major brutality skill or major sorcery skill, you can do. You've got scribing skills and all sorts if you want to customize it, but degeneration is a perfect one for that because it does give you the buff and some damage over time, so it heals you at the same time as well. It's not going to heal your groups, you're going to have to be more active with your HOTS, but it is another option for major sorcery and brutality if you prefer. That way, again, you can maintain tripods. So, where are we? Next up is the Bubble. Energy Orb in the Undaunted skill line starts off as Necrotic Orb, Morphic to Energy Orb. This one will heal the group every 1 second for passing them, and allies can take a synergy, which will burst heal everyone close by and give them resources back. So Magicka or Stamina, depending on which one of theirs is highest. This is a very, very powerful skill. You want to use it alongside this path here. So keep that running inside the path. Double heals, happy days. Really simple stuff. Alongside that, as and when you need to, maintain Major Sorcery and Brutality with this skill, and hit stuff in the face at the same time. Anyway, next is, you've already seen this because I accidentally pressed it, Exhilarating Drain. This is in the Vampire skill line. Yes, we're a vampire. This starts off as Vampiric Drain, morph it to Exhilarating Drain. This will give you 5 ultimate every 1 second for 3 seconds during its channel. And if you are taking damage, not only will you do magic damage, but you will heal for 25% of your missing health. So this is a very, very strong heal for you and a massive ulti gain. You can cancel this at any point in time if you want to by simply hitting the block button or bar swapping, but it is a channeled effect so you can't block during it. This is our bread and butter for the build outside of our actual heals. So the trick is maintain heals on the ground, spam this as much as possible to build ulti fast. We are building so much ulti, this is going to scare you, but we'll go more into that as we get to the gear and as we get through the skills. Inner Light is from the Major Skilled skill line. Simply put, this needs to be on the bar. That's it. Just leave it there. You get 5% extra Magicka, you get Major Prophecy and Savagery, increasing our crit chance, so just leave it there. Technically speaking, if you activate it, you will get Empower if you have the Major Skilled passives, which is nice for our heavy attacks, but it's not the end of the world if you don't utilize that. Technically speaking, if you want to just have this for its buffs and bonuses that come with it for free, don't touch it. Back bar again, we've double barred that so we don't drop resources when we switch. So that's a really easy one for the first skill. And the ultimate, we're going to leave until the end because this needs the gear in order to explain what it is. But it's Crypt Transfer. Both bars. We didn't even need to slot anything. Anyway, more about that later. Blessing of Restoration is in the Resto Staff skill line. Technically speaking, this is a burst heal. So on the ground, nice burst heal. Really easy to apply, just hit it and there's a burst heal in front of you. Yes, of course that can crit, and you've got to consider weapon and spell damage bonuses, crit bonuses, etc., and the health of the enemies as well, or allies even. If they're low, they get a benefit depending on passives. There's lots of different things to consider that can boost that, but it's a very powerful burst heal with a 20-second resistance buff. Minor resolve for 20 seconds. Pretty damn good. But bear in mind, if you wanted to use the other morph that gives minor berserk, you can do. It does the same thing, but it doesn't last as long. It only lasts 10 seconds, so you are going to be nuking your resources a lot more, so be bloody careful and make sure you utilize your heavy attacks. The choice is yours. Most DPSs these days tend to be slotting minor berserk anyway because they don't consider the fact a healer could bring it, so it's up to you and your group how you want to set up, but this one does last a lot longer, so it's much more efficient for your resources. Relentless Focus stays on the bar and does nothing. Basically, every light attack or heavy attack you build up, 1 stack for light, 2 for heavy, you will give yourself 80 weapon and spell damage throughout, as long as you don't fire it. It will stack up to 5 times, so you get 400 weapon and spell damage. But as long as you don't fire it, that stays with you forever. All you have to do is light and heavy to build it up. So that is actually staying there. Doesn't matter which bar it's on. Doesn't matter where you fire it from. That will give you the buff indefinitely. Bear in mind, if you do fire it, you'll remove the stacks and you'll take a big heal and you'll do damage. But that's something you want to avoid doing unless you're in an emergency. So, strictly speaking, try not to press this button. You can put it on the front bar if you want to take advantage of some minor passives, i.e. 2% extra crit chance. But I've deliberately put it on the back. Most people are going to be on the front most of the time. And that is where mistakes happen the most. So if it's there, well, the 2% extra crit chance is tiny and kind of nice. It saves room for mistakes, basically. It makes less room for error. So leaving it on the back bar made more sense for us. Also, since we don't have the crit chance on the front bar, the back bar even, due to our precise being on the front and not on the back, that means that we can actually utilize the crit chance that we lack on the back as well. It's not the same, but it's better than nothing. Next up is siphoning attacks. Siphoning skill line starts off as siphon strikes, morph it to siphon attacks. If you activate this, it will cost you 4k health, but you will get back 2,600 magicka and stamina every time you cast it. You can nuke your health and fill your bars, but if you're inside your own heals, it won't even affect you. You'll just use health, get health back. Use health, get health back. Really, really easy to use. So for example, if I put down the path and of course the bubble, and I spam this, you can see that my health is not even struggling. I'm absolutely fine. But my resources are full. So technically speaking, you don't have to spam it unless you're in trouble. If you are not in trouble, don't ever touch it. While it's there, on both bars, you will always benefit from health and resources back once a second for doing damage. Which means, yes, if you're doing a light attack, you get a heal. And if you use this stuff, you can get a heal and resources back also. Any of this, anything that does damage. Light, heavy, damage, the lot. It's basically crit surge for the Nightblade, except you don't have to activate it. But it's a resource filler if you're in trouble. Yes, you can block cast it because it is an instant ability. Healing Springs is very important. This actually kind of double or triple dips on some stuff that we're using. Put it on the ground, lasts for 10 seconds, people get a massive heal every 1 second. But they also get an increase to recovery every 1 second while standing inside of it. If you cast this twice, you'll end up with the maximum stacks. If you cast it 3 times, you'll maintain the maximum stacks. As you can see here, this is on the ground, and you'll see my recovery actually go up. As you can see there. Now, it will go much, much higher than that, but if I maintain it, it will continue to go up. Obviously, there's a dip there because there's a passive kicking in and out, but it's not that difficult to maintain at all. It's going to go up and up and up and up. If I pop a potion as well, all those recovery bonuses start stacking quite healthily, and you can see we're going to end up on a really large amount. It's probably going to push around sort of 1.7, 1.9k. Now, for the group, obviously, that is very, very different because it depends on their stats, but it will go up eventually. This has now hit its maximum stacks alongside some other bonuses. We're at 1.6, pushing 1.7 if we put this on. 1.8, in fact. It adds up quickly. So we are taking advantage of that. But bear in mind, the recovery side of this is also covered by some of the sets we're using. So maintain this indefinitely, keep people inside of it, or they must stay inside of it to increase their mag recovery, and don't let it run out so it resets the stacks. It's a 10-second timer, I know, but if you can maintain it, it's really, really helpful, and it does the same amount of healing as this, so both of them together stack rather nicely. So Healing Springs on the ground, alongside Refreshing Path, alongside your bubble, and the heal over time here is nuts. Really, really good. Now, we're going to go over passives, obviously, because passives are very, very important. We're not going to read into them in too much detail because a lot of this is in the class guides anyway, but you do need to understand which ones to take and why. So, Assassination. Technically speaking, we have Relentless Focus on the back bar. So we're not going to benefit from any of these passives that require you to slot it unless we're over there. We've done that on purpose to take advantage of those there instead of here. You can put them there if you're more advanced, but be very careful not to fire that Relentless Focus. You don't want to fire that bow and lose your weapon and spell damage because your heals will be weaker. We're taking advantage of it for its buff, not its active. But anyway, you do get increased pen if you are behind or flanking the target. We showed that at the beginning. It means if you are light attack, heavy attack, and not using any skills, you will do more damage. Crucially, this actually applies to our heavy more than anything else because our heavy attack, if it does more, will actually give us a bigger heal. We'll get to that in a resto passive shortly. If an enemy dies within 2 seconds of being damaged by you of any type without having a bar ability slotted at all, you will get resources back. So basically, as long as you hit something that then dies, you get stuff back. Increases weapon and spell crit rating for having one skill on the bar, and each one will further influence that. So it stacks and stacks and stacks. We're not using any on this bar. We're only using it on the back. So we get a 2% bonus on the back, nothing on the front. But we do have precise as a weapon, so we'd lose 7.2 by swapping, but we get 2% back. So it's 5 less on the back bar, but it's better than nothing. Again, you could take advantage of it on the front, but that's a more advanced way to play, and you would have to swap every time you want to use a bubble. Your choice, but I've done this way around on purpose. It's a lot easier for people to grasp. Increases your critical damage. That is only going to apply on the back bar. We're not applying damage that often, and to be fair, I mean, the damage that we do, it doesn't matter whether we really crit or not. It doesn't affect the healing done, so it's up to you. You can put it on the front bar if you really need to, but again, it's a bit nitpicky. I know if you want to optimize for the performance of the build, you could technically take advantage of that, so that means that Sap Essence could do more damage. But again, it's one of those things where you're not going to see it perform very often. If you can max out your crit damage, by all means, great. But we're not going to be able to do that outside of people accidentally firing the bloody bow and constantly having to bar swap for more bubbles. This is already tricky enough having to use healing springs every 10 seconds. If you have to keep bar swapping to apply another 10-second skill, you're going to spend less time on the front than you do on the back. And that's redundant in the way the build is designed. So I've deliberately moved it to the back. What you do with that is up to you. Shadow obviously increases our stam, mag, and health recovery. Quite nice. Casting a Shadow ability gives you major resolve, and the more heavy armor you wear, the longer the buff. So this here, major resolve. That comes from the passive for applying that skill. Minor resolve from here, you've got both on tap. Skills, where have we gone? This will increase your maximum health for each Shadow ability slotted. We have 1 on the front, none on the back. And increases the duration. That lasts 12 seconds instead of 10. Now we've got siphoning, which is very important. If you take a potion, you get 20 ultimate. Hold that thought. Remember that. Now, for having a siphoning skill on your bar, you do benefit from having 8% increased Magicka. We've got one on both bars. Happy days. Remember, if you lose Sap Essence, as long as you put another siphoning ability on there, you're fine. But if you take it away, you're screwed. Increases your health done for each ability slotted from this skill line. We've got 1 on each bar, so it's 3% on each bar. And casting a siphon ability while in combat generates 2 ultimate. This can happen once every 4 seconds. Depending on how often you press those things, depends on how often you can take advantage of it. But remember, there is a timer where 4 seconds is the cooldown. You can't apply it any faster. Now, resto is very important, obviously. If you heavy attack, you get Major Mending. Major Mending is a 4-second healing buff, increasing every single heal you do by 16%. If you don't heavy attack, you won't get this. There are other ways to acquire it in the game, but if you don't on this build, you will not get it. So you are going to have to heavy attack for your resources back, which is why massive recovery is not important for this build. Our recovery is covered by our heavies, and that maintains the ability to have higher strength heals. Most people that sit there with really high recovery try to spam Breath of Life or whatever class they're on. They spam a heal, spam, and they think that that's the way to heal. You would have to spam less if you heavy attacked more, because your burst heal or your healing over time would be more powerful, and you wouldn't have to spend as many resources. It's as simple as that. If you want to get the most healing potential, make sure you have your healing buffs. Also, if you heavy attack, you'll heal yourself or an ally close by within 15 meters based on the damage done. Technically speaking, that's 62% of the damage done, right? No, if you actually heavy, the heal is boosted because you now do 71% of the damage done. I need to get there quicker. Do that again. 4 seconds is a short period of time, by the way, so make sure you keep this running as much as you can. 71%. Any healing done bonuses or healing received bonuses will inflate that. You heavy attack, you get resources back, you get a healing buff to everything that's already running or anything you're about to cast, and you heal more for doing so. So the higher the pen, the higher the weapon and spell damage, the higher the Magicka or whatever, the stronger this heavy, alongside Empower as well, the stronger the heavy and the bigger the heal. Bear in mind, obviously, if you have Empower and you do heavy, that heal is going to be huge. Anyway, increase your healing done by 15% for people with lower health. Heavy attacks restore 30% extra Magicka. That is crucial. Remember that. Your heavy attack gives you major mending, heals from the heavy based on the damage done, and you get 30% back. Restore 600 Magicka if you block, but that has to be considered as far as cooldowns are concerned. Obviously, the more you block, the more stamina you lose, but if you block a maximum of 4 times in 1 second, you will get 600 back for each block. That is absolutely insane and refills your bar quite quickly, but watch your stamina. Bear in mind, obviously, you can spam your siphon attacks while doing so and just maintain the 2, but you got to keep your health up, so be standing in a heal at the same time. Increase your healing done with resto staff spells by 5%. Easy peasy. We are using 1 light, 1 medium, and 5 heavy. Now, there are no flat healing done bonuses to any armor type. technically speaking, a crit increase. So strength from crits only will improve healing done, because crit is considered healing and damage. Technically speaking, again, in medium, you have weapon and spell damage increase, which does heal damage and does improve damage and healing. But nothing is a set healing done only bonus. No armor comes with that. So what we've done is we've taken advantage of 5 heavy armor pieces for 2 reasons. 1, the set choice, and 2, because we want to take advantage of the heavy passives, so we can actually line these up side by side. So the resto staff, the healing one, supports the heavy armor, the survival one. So get all the medium and light armors as much as you can. Obviously, we've got 1 piece, so you've got minor bonuses, but they are going to be helpful. Heavy armor first, though. Extra resistances, extra health recovery, and resources back for being hit, and more health, and more stamina or magicka back from your heavy attacks. Remember, if you are using Empower, your heavy attack is stronger. If you've got High Pen, your heavy attack is stronger. And if you've got Major Mending, which you get from the heavy attack, that heal that comes from the heavy and all the rest of the heals are stronger. But in doing so also, if the target is off balance, you will get double resources back. If you're using a resto staff, you get an extra 30% resources back. And if you're using 5 pieces of heavy, you get an extra 20% resources back. So while we lack recovery on purpose, we are forced to heavy attack to take Major Mending, and in return, we get a fuck ton of resources back. Maintaining our resources as a heavy armor healer is fucking easy. And we're not lacking our crit chance either, because we're sitting on a whopping 40%. If you had full light armor, you'd have 7%. We don't have full light armor. We've got 1 piece, so we can only take advantage of 1%. So outside of that, we are 6% down on the crit chance, but we are way up on everything else. Oh, 1 more passive. Healing received. Now, we are a vampire. We are only stage 1, so you only need this. Ignore sneak movement speed and penalty. So yes, you sneak and run really fast. That's it. The rest of it is irrelevant because we're not going stage 2 or higher, because otherwise we will take more negative effects. We do have less health recovery by 10%. We take 5% more damage from fire. Our basic costs for our abilities are 3% more, and our vampire costs are lower. So our exhilarating drain is actually cheaper, obviously because we've got stage 1 than it would be at base, although that kind of kicks in straight away. We do take a little bit more from fire, and everything else is a little bit more expensive, but it's not a major negative that's actually going to affect you in combat. You're not going to notice because we're only taking stage 1. So you just need that. These are irrelevant. Don't need them at all. We are taking advantage of Mage's Guild, actually. If you use your inner light, you will apply Empower. That's not crucial. That's not something that you need to do all the time, but it's a nice tool to have just in case you can kind of wiggle it in occasionally. Technically speaking, leave it on the bar, don't press it, but if you want Empower occasionally, you can. Increase Magicka and recovery for having a skill on the bar. We do want to take advantage of that. Increased duration, pretty much irrelevant to be fair, because we're not using any durated abilities. And reduction to cost, that's also irrelevant unless you deliberately cast it. If you're deliberately casting it from time to time, then of course use it. But above all, you want the Magicka recovery and flat increase. Undaunted, if you take a synergy, you will heal and get resources back. Take all the synergies you bloody can. They're for you and everyone else. Pop them. And of course, we're using 3 different types of armor, so we've got a 6% across the board boost to health, stamina, and magicka. Not every build requires 5-1-1, i.e. 5 of one type and 1 of each of the other. This particular build does benefit quite heavily from it, so that's why we've taken advantage of it. Some builds don't. We are on Argonian, obviously. We swim faster, which is great. But 6% increase to all healing done. So that means even if you have lower weapon and spell damage, which promote heals, even if you have lower flat resources, again, which promotes heals, and even if you don't have healing done bonuses on your set, you do still have this as a base bonus anyway. So it's a nice inflator or a nice stacker on top. Increase max health by 1k, and we have disease and poison resistance. Increase max magicka and stamina by 1k, and when you drink any potion, even trash pots, you will still get health, magicka, and stamina back. We're using tripots, so the boost we get is insane. But if you use any potions, and we are going to be using potions a lot. I need to make that clear. We're going to be using potions a lot. Then you need to take advantage of this passive very, very soon. Obviously, you can be any race you like. You'll just not get this passive. It's not going to break the build if you choose another race, but it's very helpful if you do have Argonian. Alchemy. Medicinal use. I will encourage you on every single build on the channel to understand that this is the most important passive in the game. Potions are consumable buffs. They are just as important as your active buffs that you cast. So you must maintain your potions at all time to keep the uptime of those skills. There's major fortitude, major intellect, major endurance. You don't need them to run out. Popping potions at low resources just because you think that's an emergency usage kind of consumable is wrong. You'll cast it, you'll use 2 skills, and it's out again. The trick is to maintain them. If you pop them and keep that recovery bonus going, when you pop the next one, you benefit from the refilling, but you're already high enough to not be too low, so you can keep up that maintenance. It's about constantly applying them and using them as a constant buff. If you don't have enough potions, you have 2 options. And as harsh as it may sound, facts are facts, not my fault that you're offended by them. If you don't have enough potions to utilize them effectively, go get some more gold and get some more pots, or go get some more flowers and make some more pots. They are important to use. Your build will be less effective if you don't have them. Lucky for you, however, on this build, while we're using tripots, since we're an Argonian, you can basically use anything you like. So trash pots, trash health pots, trash stand pots, whatever, you'll still get resources back for all 3. More effective to use tripots, but still openly valid to use any of your choice. You will get them from every piece of content, so just use what you've got. Anyway, this passive is not as important as it is on other builds because we are going to use the potion before its base cooldown. So if you don't have the skill points, don't use it. Now we're going to get into the gear, so that makes more sense. So I know I can hear people screaming, oh, it's not fair, you've got a trial set. Yes, of course I have. Trials exist. You can play them just like any other content, but you don't have to do them on vet. If you don't want to do them on vet difficulty, don't. Do them on normal. Use the group finder, make your own group. You can do that. But we are utilizing the Kind's Wind Resto Staff and Jewelry. 2 jewelry pieces are infused with reduction to cooldown on potions, so 16 seconds taken off the top. And we're using weapon and spell damage with mag recovery and arcane on the other. So 2 infused with potion cooldown, 1 weapon and spell damage. Flat boosts, cooldown. This is using increased weapon and spell damage that will fire on cooldown as long as you do heavies and lights. And we've got precise to give us more crit chance. Now what does this set do? Bear in mind, the perfected version has an extra recovery bonus. That is all. Everything else still works the same. The whole proc, the lot, all works the same. So you can get the normal version. It's not the end of the world. You gain minor Aegis, reducing the amount of damage you take in trials, dungeons, and arenas. You have recovery. You have healing done, so that boosts all your flat healing. The recovery bonus is an extra if you have perfected, but above all, casting an ability, drinking a potion, or using a poison that applies a major buff on yourself or a group member creates a pool on the floor for 4 seconds, and during that 4-second period, with a 6-second gap, 10-second cooldown, you give back 420 stamina and magicka per second to everyone inside of it. Now, this does apply a major buff. This does apply major expedition. However, that doesn't fire the skill. The reason it doesn't fire it is because this has a side effect. The rule for ESO is that procs don't proc procs. So a proc condition or something that fires something else cannot fire a set. Or a set that is fired from a condition cannot fire another condition of a set. This has a condition. It fires the major resolve passive. That passive blocks what the skill does in general and therefore doesn't fire the set. Which is a bug. I have reported it. Hopefully they fix that nice and quickly. However, don't worry, I've got you covered. This here does apply a major buff. It applies major brutality and sorcery with no side effects and no hidden back-end stuff. So all you have to do is this. Look on the ground. There is the 420 per second magicka and stam return. Easy peasy. Maintain that at all times. All you have to do is cast that once every 10 seconds and you're good. So any major buff will apply it. So if you are using scribing skills and you decide to put a major buff in there, that will work also as long as it doesn't trigger another passive, which will fuck it up. So 1 weapon, 3 jewelry. The shoulders, we've taken Symphony of Blades, but you don't have to use that. You can use any set that gives healing done or any other recovery, weapon and spell damage, or armor bonuses. This is entirely up to you. This is a flex slot. Your choice. You can even go a crit bonus if you want and go slime crawl, but it's not going to be a massive increase, so you may as well take the healing done anyway. That needs to be a medium to take advantage of the medium passives in Divines. This is Arcasis. It's full heavy. We've got it on the full body with the helmet as well because the helmet looks mega. And this gives you health, armor, and health. And whenever you drink a potion while in combat, you and 3 group members will get 44 ultimate. This can happen once every 30 seconds. So in a trial scenario, the closest ones are going to get affected by this. It's a very nice bonus. You will benefit all the time, and it is going to trigger another set. But in dungeons, this is fucking god mode. Absolutely stupid. You pop a potion, you get 20. You've got minor heroism at all times, which I'm getting to in a moment. You've got your exhilarating drain, which gives you ulti, and then you've got this once every 30 seconds. But there's more. Make sure, while you pop your potions left, right, and center, you leave a 1 second gap. These potions, due to our glyphs on our jewelry and our traits on our jewelry, are now down to a 29-second cooldown. So you can fire this every 29 seconds. 20 ultimate from your Nightblade passives every 29 seconds. Don't do that. Do it every 30. Let it last 1 more second. So when your potion is ready to fire, count 1 second, then pop it. If you do that consistently, every 30 seconds, this sets trigger rule will give you more. So every 30 seconds, you're getting an extra 64 ultimate. And your group will be fed left, right, and center because of this. Crypt Cannon Vestments is a mythic item. It goes on the chest. It's a light armor piece, so we've got light, medium, and then the rest is heavy. If you use an ultimate, it won't actually fire the ultimate. The ultimate has been replaced with this unique version. This unique version splits all the ultimate you have with your group. Now, I can hear people in the back going, oh, 4 people with 500, that's 125 each, right? No, it's not. No, it's not, because you don't get any. You split 500 with those 3. You split 500 with the other 11 in your group if you're in a trial, and you can build ultimate rapidly. So if you are in a small group of 4 of you, every 30 seconds, you're giving them 44 ultimate on top of what they already have. And if you activate your ultimate, you're giving them even more. They can spam their ultis, war horns, DPS ultis, whatever it is, you can feed them all day long. The other weapon we've got is the Master's Resto Staff. This doesn't need to be perfected because the only time you get the extra Magicka is on the back bar, so it's redundant. We've got it empowered with a Magicka return glyph, obviously so you can do extra healing while you're on that bar since we don't have the crit. And basically you need to put down your ground healing, your healing springs, and the Magicka recovery you get from that already counts. The Magicka recovery you get from firing your Sap Essence with this set already goes on the ground as well. And in the meantime, you get 2/2/4 Magicka and stand back every 2 seconds for 6 seconds of the initial cast. So if you just maintain this indefinitely while doing this, every few seconds, as long as you can reapply this, you will give your whole group extra recovery. Stupidly high extra recovery. 420 every 1 second for 4 seconds out of 10, and then 2/2/4 every 2 for 6 seconds out of 10, plus the 15 every second, plus wait, there's more when we get to champion points. So we're going to go over this real quick again. Precise weapon and spell damage, powered Magicka glyph, health on the helmet and the legs, or the helmet and the chest doesn't make a difference. The rest all Magicka, but divines throughout. Weapon and spell damage once with arcane, and then reduced cooldown with infused twice. That should cover absolutely everything. And now we're going to go on to champion points. You're going to see how much more recovery the group has outside of how much ultimate they gain. So, get all the yellow passives as soon as you possibly can. Obviously, status ones are quite important as well, but that's not the end of the world if you don't have them yet. But you do want to lean into the healing skill line and make sure you get your survival passives in here as well. These ones are important to your damage mitigation. But once you've got this, you want to come over here and get this here. This overflow passive can fire for 6 seconds once every 12. So 50-50 uptime. The amount of benefits you have in your stats determines how strong this is. And we've capped it out. Basically, this will give the whole group, on top of the 15 mag recovery, on top of the 2/2/4 every 2 seconds, on top of the 420 every 1 second, on top of everything that you're doing so far, they have a further 150 recovery for all 3 bars. All you need to do is keep them in heals. You need to overheal slightly. Easy peasy. Now, the healing side of things, on top of that, healing done for all heals in Era of Effect. Most of the stuff we're using is Era of Effect. Healing done for healing over time. Most of it's heal over time. And healing done completely. So weapon and spell damage towards all heals. So flat heals, healing over time, Era of Effect, and then over heals gives recovery. So bloody simple. Red tree is quite simple as well. Extra health, extra armor. They don't cost any prerequisites to do that. Then you want to go into this tree, get your extra health here, and then go all the way over here and get this block passive. You are tanky as hell. If you get hit by something and you block, you get Magicka back, but at the same time, you've now got the same block mitigation as an ice staff or a sword and board. You're effectively a tank as far as mitigation is concerned, as long as you maintain your resistance bonuses. Now, the last and final slot board is entirely up to you. I would recommend this just in case of emergencies. Now, you need to listen to this very carefully if you expect to be a good healer. Good healers heal. Bad healers look at dead bodies and think it's their job to go pick them up. No. It's no good running over there going, I'm the healer, I can resurrect them. You're the healer, you were supposed to heal. If someone dies, it's unfortunate, but you need to maintain heals on the rest of the group rather than panicking about the one that you can't help right now. If an extreme situation happens and you are the only one that can resurrect, then you need to put your hots on the ground, then go pick them up and utilize this slottable. If there are other people in the room that can res instead, maintain your heals and let somebody else do it. This is for emergencies only. You need to keep doing your job so other people can do theirs. If one DPS goes over to the other body on the ground and reses them, yes, you've lost a little bit of DPS right now. But if you run over there and you haven't maintained heals on everyone, you've just wiped the group because no one is getting heals. It's a really messed up mentality to get into, to consider the fact that you think you're the one that should be resurrecting when it was your job to keep them alive in the first place. Anyone can res. This is just an emergency passive in case shit really hits the fan and you're the last one left. Now, what you can do if you don't want to take that passive, maybe your group's not that squishy and maybe you're healing sufficiently and maybe they're not that stupid to keep running out of heals. And maybe shit doesn't happen very often. You can take advantage of other passives if you prefer. You've got speed bonuses, you've got all sorts of different things that you can take advantage of. Even this one, I know we have lower health recovery as a vampire, but if you slot this and you're holding ultimate for quite a long period of time, or you're just building it really, really quickly, which you should be, then of course you've got extra bonuses there. You've got extra bonuses to when it comes to your core skills, with you've got status effects on you and such, because we don't actually have a cleanse, or you could put one on if you prefer. You've got extra bonuses here to allow you to dodge roll for free, which is actually quite a helpful one because then you don't nuke your stamina so much. You've got lots of different utility ones, but what I wouldn't recommend is this. When you break free, you basically do it for no cost, once every 21 seconds if you're stunned. That is tricky. Scale Caller, for example, if you get put in the ice and you break free, you fuck up the mechanic and die. I wouldn't recommend this in most PvE scenarios, so leave that alone. Other stuff, again, this is a flex slot. That's your emergency one, but the rest, have a look up and see what you like. Failing that, let's have a recovery bonus here, which is also not too bad. Green Tree. This makes you faster outside of combat. Kind of helpful. This one extends the duration of your food. Also kind of helpful. This one increases the quality of items from chests, if you're lucky. Also helpful. Again, quality of life. This one, definitely take it. You are taking potions once every 30 seconds. Whether they're trash pots, tripods, whatever, you are taking potions left, right, and center. Otherwise, you're playing the build wrong. I need to make that clear. You are playing the build wrong if you're not taking a potion every 30 seconds. It is designed that way on purpose. No good going into the comment section and complaining that you can't get enough ultimate when you're not taking the pots because you're precious enough to hold on to them. You need to spend them. Go get some more potions. Anyway, this will give you a 10% chance to not use one. So popping potions left, right, and center. Every 10 potions, you're likely to have one that doesn't actually fire, but still gives you the benefit. So definitely get that. Quality of life anyway. The green tree doesn't really matter that much. How do we play it? Well, this is quite simple. You need to maintain this, both for a heal on the ground, and some nice recovery and speed bonuses, obviously, and your major resistance bonus. As long as that's active, so is your resistance buff. Lasts longer than the skill, I know, but maintain it. Your Blessing of Protection, that needs to be down. Not only for the burst heal and the extra resolve, minor resolve for you and the group, but also to keep up your minor berserk if you choose the other morph. Even if you don't, maintain this at least once every 20 seconds anyway. Then you need your healing springs to be down. So you've got 3 major skills to maintain. This for major resolve and a heal, this for minor resolve and a heal, this for actual heals and huge recovery bonuses. As long as they're active, it's up to you to maintain bubbles every so often inside the heals. Pop this once every so often, your sap essence to proc your set once every 10 seconds and keep up major brutality and sorcery. And the rest of the time, so heals on the ground, with some bubbles, with a buff. The rest of the time, light attack or heavy attack, and then exhilarate and drain. Heavy attack, exhilarate and drain. And just maintain it. Make sure, obviously, you stop the skill of your other skills run out, because you can cancel it halfway through. But you want to build as much ulti as possible. That's your job. In doing so, you will benefit heavily from this. This here. You can only do this once every 5 seconds, which is a stupidly fast cooldown. You can do it at any ultimate amount, if it's 1 or 500, and you will split it with your group. It is absolutely bonkers. Now, we're going to drop an ulti real quick just so we can get rid of it, because you can't actually fire an ulti with that set present. You can only fire an ulti with a person in the room, and you can only feed them. This meteor that's coming out, can't normally fire that. So we'll get rid of that. And then we'll put the chest back on. So now we're back to 0 ultimate. This is how fast you can build. So we're, first of all, just going to put our heals on the ground. Nice and easy. Maintain a bubble. And then we're going to build up ultimate. As you can see, I'm already at almost 100. I'm way over 100 already. I'm about to reapply my hots, because that's about to run out. I'm at 200 already, and I can now share this with the group. That set has got minor heroism at all times as well. Did mention that earlier, but it's absolutely mental. You're constantly building ultimate. You could go decisive on the front, but you're going to sacrifice some crit chance. But if you wanted to, you can build it even quicker. And again, I'm not going to split this with one person. They get all 200. If I split it with 4 people, they all get 75 roughly each, as I'm nearly at the point where I can do that. It's not 50 per person. I don't get any. They get it all. So it's pretty mad. Anyway, build up ulti really, really quick. Keep your heals on the ground. And don't run out of resources. That's your job, basically. If you get into a situation where you just want to spam loads of damage because everyone's alive anyway, spam this. Or better still, just spam Invigorate and Drain. Or whatever the hell it's called now. They changed it a long time ago. Why am I still calling it Invigorate and Drain? Vampire skills. Exhilarate and Drain. I knew that. And just spam ultis for the group. If they're dropping meteors or warhorns or whatever, they're going to fire them left, right, and center. In fact, if you've got 3 people using the off-balance builds and they're all using the shooting star, every enemy they hit gives them ulti back anyway, and every time you fill up ulti, you just fill up theirs. It's stupid. And they won't run out of juice because of all this. Anyway, when it comes to gear choices, there are some links on the website, obviously, for what you can do if you don't have the other stuff, but, I mean, it's not the end of the world either way. Just put on whatever you can use for now, and make sure that you play this the right way with that particular mythic on. Now we're going to go into fashion. So, these ones we have actually swapped out. This is Lion Guard on the shoulders, Dremora Kindreave on the gauntlets, Sigic Scion on the belt, and of course, Balfurion Sentinel on the feet. Now, you can use whatever ones you like. The base ones were just a bit flat. Speaking of base ones, the legs, the chest, and the helmet are all the ones that come with the gear. You don't have to change anything. Using red and purple, I think Crimson Sharp, or Card Sharp, sorry, not Crimson Sharp. Card Sharp red, which is over here from the Tales of Tribute stuff. And also the purple that we're using is for base game hard mode stun. Voidstone Violet. You can use any purple you like, really, and any red, but those two are the ones we're using, and we've got black on the legs as well. The staff is base. That is actually the same as the Klein's Wind set. We didn't change it. And the back bar staff, we've just used a different one for the sake of it, so we can tell the difference as which bar we're on if we're not looking at our skills properly. Because sometimes you can get caught short. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully that wasn't too boring. I know it's very different to most healers, and it is a different type of playstyle, but, I mean, what's wrong with something new now and again? Give it a whirl, see if you like it. If you've actually tried it out and you've experienced it, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? And are you looking forward to new videos? If so, hit the sub button and the notification bell so you know when they go live. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.